Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 0.1 where we will be discussing in this lesson the class syllabus for IB History Course 1. And so by the end of today's lesson, the students will be able to describe the basic course of the course syllabus for IB History 1, such as like teacher contact information, office hours, and grade breakdown. You should also be able to explain the daily routines that happen within the classroom, as well as explaining some of the different policies within the classroom, like naming policy, food policy, etc., etc. You should also be able to briefly explain what a self-paced learning environment is and what the model is that we use in our classroom, and then also be able to describe the unit breakdowns for IB History 1 as well. So in terms of some class specifics for our particular class, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Richard Albrecht. I am going to be your teacher on this journey through IB History 1, and it is a pleasure to meet each and every one of you. I have been in education now for 20 plus years in the state of Georgia as well as here in Michigan. And as I have been an assistant principal as well for 6 years in that within that 20-year plus career in education. So it is a pleasure to meet all of you. So I'm going to be going on this journey with you as we go through IB History 1 and for many of you in IB History 2. So, in order to contact me, my email addresses here on your screen are albrecht@yhi.org. You should be able to quickly get a hold of me anytime you need to. Emails that are sent to me during the weekend, I will answer them by the next business day. So I will be very mindful of mindfulness and balance in taking my weekends for myself. So if you do email me over the weekend, please do not expect a response until the next business day. Also, emails that will be sent after 5 p.m. will not be answered until the following business day as well, for also to encourage wellness and balance for myself. I do hold office hours. My office hours are Monday through Friday, 3:20 to 4 p.m. So I am available anytime after school, unless I have a prior engagement. But you will always know if I cannot be available. I will let you know. I'm also available during Wednesday during team time, and of course, you will know what team time is through learning about that through school assemblies and school meetings and things like that. But team time is another time that you will have available to meet with me if you are in need of tutoring services or any questions. So, how is your grade going to be determined in IB History 1? Well, your grade is good. Your grade breakdown is located here. First of all, you're going to be graded in 4 different subcategories. Category A is knowledge and understanding. Category B is application and analysis. Category C is synthesis and evaluation. And category D is use and application of skills. So those are the 4 different categories where your grade is going to be made up, or where your grade is going to be devised. And so 30% is going to come from categories A, B, and C, or criterion A, B, and C, and only 10% is going to come from criterion D. And the reason why criterion D is only 10% is because the vast majority of the subdomains in criterion D deal with just the historical investigation, and the historical investigation is only a part of the course. It's not the entire course. And a lot of the rest of the subsets within that criterion are, do you follow basic instructions and things like that. So that's why that one is not as high as the other 3, because those are actual either historical content or historical skills. And in terms of grading, a reminder to all of you that we do use standards-based grading here at YHI, and so there is the standards-based grading scale where 8 is 100 and 1 is a 55. And then to translate that into the school grading as to what is an A, B, C, D, or E, the scale here at the farthest right will illustrate that for you. So first of all, let me introduce you to your classroom. And also alongside doing that, introduce you to your daily routines when you come into room 804 at Washtenaw International High School, also known as Mr. Albrecht's room. So for the daily routine, if you'll notice here, just off this picture, this is where the door is located to come into the classroom. So once you come directly into the door, you will come and find your seat. and you'll drop your belongings down there and what have you. Um, Take care of any personal needs that you need and whatnot between classes, please. But then do what you need to do. And then you're going to come to what is called the command center and do now sheets, and so, or command center basically. And so this whole picture here that you're looking at is the command center. And in the command center, you're going to find a lot of nifty things that you will probably need. For example, these plastic containers here contain markers, crayons, scissors, glue sticks, those type of things, because if we're doing those types of projects in class, you'll have easy access to them. And we'll also have other items that may be of necessity for you to use, like scissors, or even tape and things like that. So that's going to be a general command center for you to find any necessary materials that you will need to complete activities throughout the day. On the bulletin board back here in the back, you will see this is a place where there will be class announcements. It could be specific to IB History 1 by itself, or it could be specific to another course that I'm teaching as well. But you always want to make sure you look at that bulletin board, because there will be announcements up there and whatnot. And I'll always draw your attention to it and remind you as well. So once you come into the classroom and you find your seat and you've placed your stuff down, you're going to come over here to the command center, and you'll notice on the bulletin board there's a green folder there, and in that green folder is the do now sheets. And in the do now and in that folder you'll find the do now sheets, and you'll take one of those do now sheets and go back to your desk, and you'll complete that do now sheet. And that do now sheet will have, it asks for your basic things like your name, the date. It's asking where you are. So it'll ask you, okay, what lesson are you working on today? And what is the lesson that you're supposed to be on? And it's going to ask you, are you on pace, ahead of pace, or behind pace? And it's going to ask you why. So it's going to ask you some reflection questions as well. It's also going to be an SEL check-in, so that I can get a better pulse on you, on how you're working that day and how you're feeling that day. So it can let me know if you and I need to we can really engage very well, or if it's a day for me to kind of like give you your space and whatnot, and also give you the space that you need with your peers and whatnot. So you want to make sure you want to do a do now, because this do now sheet it's not graded, but that is how I take attendance. So if you're ever marked absent, it's because I don't have a do now sheet done from you, and you actually will physically give it to me. So you never turn the do now sheet into a student. You will always turn the do now sheet into me. So on the other side of the screen, you're going to be looking at two different seating area examples in the classroom, the meeting table and the work groups. If you'll notice on the left-hand side of this is the long table that has 6 chairs around it. This is no, you do not sit here, which is quite ironic that I'm doing this in green, but you do not sit here, okay? Because this table is reserved only for meetings, and you'll find out what those meetings are and when they'll happen and things like that. But no student should be sitting at this table. There are 4 desks, four desks put together in pods. This is where students will sit throughout the day. And of course, this picture was taken before I separated it for better social distancing, so don't worry about this. Picture is not truly accurate. There's a little bit more space in between the desks to provide better social distancing. But this is where you will sit. Do not sit at the table, but you all will sit at that table at some point for meetings that we have throughout the semester. In terms of the class-specific daily routine, the class will be divided into basically 3 different types of or 3 different sections. The first will be like the do now section, and that's going to be roughly around 10 to 20 minutes, depending on, because within that section is you do the do now sheet, I take attendance, it's also class announcements, it's checking in, where is everybody, what's going on, how's the day going, that type of thing. So that's about a 10 to 20 minute period. And then the rest of the class is going to be divided into 2 sections, and they're going to be about 40 to 35 minutes each. And it is during that 40 to 35 minute time period that I will actually be meeting with different groups at this table. And so the table I just circled in red for you. So that is the reason why you don't want to sit there, because we don't want to kids having to bring their book bags and whatnot. It's just silly for us to do that. So no one sit at the table, because this is going to be used daily for meetings and whatnot. And so I will be conducting meetings with two groups each class period. So and roughly every class will have four groups. So basically, each week you all will have a one-on-one meeting with me. Well, not one-on-one, but a one-on group meeting with me. So basically, a lot of your instruction is going to come from smaller groups, where you will be in a group of roughly 8 or less people. So it'll be easier for us to work together for success, and work out and help each other to be successful in the class and overall. All right, so in terms of class specifics, let's first of all look at name policy. First of all, all of you have your own unique specific name. Please correct me in pronouncing your name correctly. Okay, so if I fail to pronounce your name correctly, please correct me, make me learn how to pronounce your name correctly and whatnot. Also, in terms of your pronouns, we are all unique and individual human beings, and we all deserve dignity and humanity and respect. And in this classroom, you deserve the right to be addressed by the pronouns of your choice. And so, please also let me know your pronoun preferences. And when I do make a mistake, I do ask of you to please correct me in a very thoughtful and professional manner, because you are valued and respected in my classroom, and I want everyone to be respected by having their names celebrated, as well as their pronoun preferences respected as well. So please do take the time to correct myself and any person in the classroom that fails to follow that. In terms of class engagement, the only thing I ask is please participate in class. The class is self-paced, and so all of your content is always going to be online, or on video, so you will be able to access it at any time of the day you want to, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, of course, when it's opened. I don't open them all up at the same time, so I open them up piecemeal so you're not overwhelmed. But it is a self-paced course, so through the weekly meetings that I will be having with all of you, I will have a better understanding of where you are in the class, so I can better meet your needs to say, okay, you need to work on these specific things here. So you're going to be engaged in the class through the meetings anyway, but the only thing I do ask is that really engage in the class, because not only do I teach the class, but our classes also run through a simulation. Yes, this is the very first time you've ever heard me mention this or say this to you in terms of our lessons. But our class is not only just a class, but we are also running a year-long simulation game. And so the game will only be successful with as much engagement that you actually bring to it. So I want to make sure that you really do give 110% in class, not only academically, but also in terms of the simulation game that we will be playing. In terms of behavior policy, just do the right thing and we will be all right. That's always been my creed. Do the right thing and we will be all right. You know, I understand that life happens and life gets in the way. If you're going to be out or something's happening, you don't have to tell me all of your business. That is perfectly your right. The only thing I do expect and do respect from you is to just tell me, hey, Albrecht, something is going on, and I need to take a step back for a couple of for this class period or whatever. I totally respect that. I just ask you to be upfront with me. In terms of behavior, I will always respect you if you just respect me. So again, do the right thing and we'll all be all right. In terms of late work and expectations, there's no real late work policy that I have, and the reason being is because my course is self-paced. Many of you are very driven with that, and you're like, well, he opened up 4 lessons. I'm going to do all four lessons in one day. Okay, well, if you've done that, then you're done with the lessons for basically that week. For some of you, you may do 1 lesson a day. That's perfectly fine. Some of you may do a lesson, half of a lesson in one class and work on the other part of it at lunch. Whatever, works into your life schedule and whatnot. So doing late work is not really an issue that you have to worry about because our class is self-paced. But on the flip side of that, please remind yourselves that units do have end dates, so do beware. You can't just continue to work on something in perpetuity. So once unit 2 ends, then it ends. We start unit 3, and that includes you. So basically, if you haven't finished with the stuff that's in unit 2, I will look at the stuff that you have done for unit 2 and give you a grade based on what you've done. So it's going to be like you're going to have to move on with this. So just keep that in mind. So in terms of using the restroom, the way I use my restroom policy is we are all pretty much, either adults or emerging on adulthood. When the call of nature happens, please just go to, you do not even really need to say anything to me. You just need to get up from your desk and you will go to the whiteboard. There's a little whiteboard that's located right by the door going outside into the hallway. You would just go there and there's a little thing for you to fill out there. You just put your name and you tell me where you're going. If you're going to the restroom, then you'll just put RR for restroom. If you're going to like the counselor's office, you can put counselor, or COUN or C or something like that. You just tell me where you're going and then you'll just put like it was, 1:36 when I left. That's all you have to do. And then you go off and you take care of whatever business you have to have. If it's going to the counselor, if it's going to the restroom, if you're taking a break, that's perfectly fine as well. Just remember to keep your breaks within 10 minutes. Please do not take a 45-minute break. So if you need to take a 10-minute stretch break, that's perfectly fine with me. You're allowed to do that. And so in terms of food policy and phone policy, in terms of food policy, I don't really have one, and I don't mind if you need to eat. Everybody's body is different. Everybody needs food at different times. So if you need to eat, fine. That's not an issue with me. Take it out and have a snack or whatever. Just make sure that you clean up after yourself. If it becomes a problem where I start to have bugs or things like that, then I will be able to narrow it down on who and where because of where you sit. And so I will start to restrict that. But please just abide by that and clean up after yourself and you'll be fine. And in terms of the phone policy, I do not under any circumstance take up cell phones. Cell phones, for many students, sometimes your computers crash and sometimes your device runs out of power or something happens. And some of you, all of your lives are different, and some of you have different family situations and whatnot that require you to have access to it. I do not take your cell phones. So the only thing I ask is that you to be mature about it. If something happens, if your mom is texting you, if a family member is texting you or whatever, if you need to step out in the hallway and take a phone call or something like that, the only thing I ask is for you to be respectful to say, hey, Mr. Albright, my mom is texting me or my guardian is texting me. Can I step outside for a moment? I will absolutely let you do that. I will step out to check on you momentarily after that, though, just to make sure if I can be of assistance. And lastly, in the event that we have to go back into remote learning for whatever reason, we will have to reinstitute some of our remote learning policies, such as, when you go into Zoom, we will still continue to use Zoom in the event that we have to do remote learning. So we won't have to learn a new platform. We will continue to use Zoom. But we will continue to revert back to those policies where, for example, when you log in, you will be muted. You'll have to remember, to mute yourself when other people are talking to lack of the echoes, to keep the echo down and whatnot. So just remember, since we've been out of practice for a couple of months, for many of us at least, just remember if we go back to remote learning policy for any reason whatsoever, just remember that we'll have to brush up on our Zoom learning skills. And over here on the right-hand side are just a couple of basically reminders almost, because first of all, just proper way to contact teachers. When you're sending me an email, just remember that, after 5 p.m., you will not get a response until the next business day. And if it's on a weekend, you will not get it until the next business day. But just make sure that your emails that are sent to me, that you do give me a heading. It's not just a blank heading, because if it's a blank heading, I simply will not open it, because I don't know if it's really a legitimate email from you asking me a question, or if it's something that maybe you got something got sent me a spam from you. I don't know. And if I don't know if what's there, I'm not going to open it. But make sure it's for something that, it tells me something like, I need help with lesson 12, or can you write me a recommendation letter? And also make sure that your tone is very professional. You don't want to be, kind of like a demanding tone, like I'm, demanding that you give me this or whatever. So just make sure that you're respectful and whatnot. This is a soft skill that we need to learn, because as you get into ready to go into college and things like that, you want to make sure that when you're sending letters and emails to professors, that you're doing it in a proper way. And then in terms of tutoring availability, we've already kind of talked about that, my tutoring availability after school as well as during team time on Wednesdays. And a little bit of final reminders. Just make sure that you pay attention to deadlines and due dates, because we do have deadlines and due dates even in a self-paced class, because I do say that at the end of this week you should be here. If you're not there, then you're behind pace, and so you need to know that you need to come up with some type of schedule for yourself over the weekend, that you're going to get yourself caught back up, so that when you come back to class the next week, you'll be caught back up to pace. And so, just a reminder that self-paced classes also have due dates. And then, if you're looking for any information about what we're doing in class, I encourage you all to Google Modern Classrooms Project. This is the model that I'm using to institute self-paced learning in our classroom. So if you're interested in learning more about it, just Google Modern Classrooms Project, and there's lots of information there for you. And here's our last slide for content. This is just your year breakdown. If you'll just take a quick second and pause here, you'll notice your unit breakdowns for Unit 0, which is an introductory unit, which will talk about the return to normal, and we'll introduce you to our simulation, which is called Solandia. You'll see here where Unit 1, Historical Foundations. Unit 2 will be Authoritarian States. Unit 3 will be Historical Investigation. All of that will be in the first semester, and that will end on January 21st. And then second semester will be Unit 4 with independence movements, and Unit 5 with apartheid in South Africa. Pause at this time to read the unit info in this column here for more details. And this is it, folks. We have reached the very end of our lesson. We have concluded. So, can you describe the basics of the course syllabus, such as how to contact your teacher, office hours, and grade breakdown? Can you explain the daily routines of the classroom? Can you explain the difference in the policies of the classroom, such as name policy, restroom policy, food policy, remote learning policies? Can you explain what self-paced learning is and the model used in this class? And can you describe the unit breakdown in this course? Those are if you can answer those questions, then pat yourself on the back. You did awesome on lesson 0.1. Now, complete any required activities for 0.1 and then proceed on to lesson 0.2. Thanks and have a great day.